Hi there, I'm Shane from Wedding Win, and today we have our guest Kevin from WeeStream. Now, he specializes in broadcasting high quality video and audio for weddings and other events. And welcome, Kevin. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shane, for having me. Very excited to be with the Wedding Win umbrella. WeeStream is a high-quality live event broadcasting company, or live streaming. Sometimes people ask us, what does WeeStream do? Well, it's right there in the name, WeeStream, and happy to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, Kevin. Now, Kevin, as you know, we specialize in showing off different companies that have to do with weddings. Now, your company does a lot more than just weddings, but for weddings specifically, what got you into streaming and broadcasting weddings?
Originally, live streaming of weddings was something that was more niche and particular to the bride and groom. A lot of times they had family overseas, or actually the scenario that we saw quite often was elders within the family that couldn't travel for one reason or another, but they wanted them to participate in real time. So live streaming of weddings was kind of born out of that. During the pandemic, all of a sudden it became much more of a necessity for brides and grooms due to capacity limitations. So all of a sudden you could only have 20, 30, 40 people, the ever-changing landscape of COVID restrictions. So we got a lot of inquiries about live streaming events, and we even brought it more interactive, where we would incorporate Zoom rooms and other ways for the brides and grooms to interact directly in real time with their friends, families, and loved ones all over the world. But to be honest, live streaming of weddings is something that brides and grooms should be looking more into, because it kind of delivers two for one. We're also a videography service. And while we're not the same as traditional videography of weddings, we're not going to go into your change room, and we're not going to do soft little vignettes of the groom attaching the boutonniere. What we are going to do is really dynamically live stream and record your wedding ceremony, the nuts and bolts, the I-dos, the stuff that you really want to wake up the next day and relive in that moment. And by hiring WeeStream, or a live streaming company, you get both of those, right? You get the live stream where people that were unable to attend for whatever reason can feel like they're participating in real time. And believe it or not, Shane, over the years, a lot of people on the other end have said, you know what, I had the best seat in the house. Thanks very much to WeeStream. And then on top of it, you're left with that video, right? That archive that happens immediately. So 5 minutes later, as you're driving away from the venue, you can sit there and rewatch your own wedding ceremony. It's really cool, and I really hope that brides and grooms start to consider the power of live streaming over, let's say, traditional videography, because I think we offer two for one.
Awesome. All right, Kevin. So my other question was, so what makes your company different than like other streaming services? What's the advantage of WeeStream?
WeeStream, from its inception, was designed to be a multi-camera, on-location live streaming service. So what really differentiates us is that ability to be a multi-camera, live switched live broadcast. So it's not just a webcam in the corner. We're using high quality cameras that are also wireless and not invasive. You coordinate that with professional audio like you're getting today, and next thing you know, you've got a really robust, professional looking multi-camera live stream, akin to what you would see only on TV. I call it the royal treatment. I mean, the only time we've ever seen a wedding on TV is when a prince or a princess gets married. And believe it or not, a live stream from WeeStream starts to parallel that a lot more than what you might be used to seeing, which would be something single camera, back of the room, maybe poor audio. It's really a dynamic production, and it will capture your event, your wedding, in ways that you probably never thought imaginable. All the cameras are very small, always wireless. We hide in kind of the nooks and crannies, and that's also a differentiator. When you come to your wedding, you don't want to make it look like the AV company or the videography company or the live streaming company has turned your wedding into a TV set, right? You want to have your wedding and have everything look the way that you've designed, and that's what we do. We lurk in the shadows. And then at the end, you almost don't even know that we're there, but you're left with this incredible product to take away.
All right. Are you flexible with like last minute changes when the bride and groom have requests?
Well, absolutely. And that kind of gets back to our setup, right? We're supposed to occupy a very small footprint. We don't even need wires. We have done multi-camera live streams. I mean, here we are in Niagara, and we can do a live stream in the middle of a vineyard. And if all of a sudden we get approached by anybody and say, is it possible to add another camera there? Or do you think that camera could be moved because it's kind of blocking grandma's view? Absolutely. We could adjust this way, we could adjust that way. We're so versatile and compatible that any request that comes our way, we try and go, over and above to accommodate it, because it's all about you, right? It's not about us. We're here to service you. So absolutely, any single request that comes our way, we try and do everything we can to accommodate that.
So Kevin, I've seen you guys at countless weddings and the quality is fantastic. Like, how do you get like such a good internet connection? Because I'm sitting here with one bar or no bars, and I couldn't stream anything, but somehow you're getting HD quality pumping out for grandma at her home. So how do you do that?
Through technology. And that's why you hire a professional company like WeeStream. Have you ever heard of things like internet bonding?
Bonding, no.
Internet bonding, where you take more than one internet connection and you bond them together to give you higher upload speeds and also a more robust internet connection. You also have failover protection. So when we go into the middle of that vineyard, we don't go there with one cell phone connection. We don't go there with two internet connections. We go minimum 3.
Wow.
And find out what are the bests, and we prioritize those, and the other basically become failover protection for that top-notch one. We have Starlink available to us as well. So if we can get into the most remote locations, we bring the latest technology to make sure that we have a robust and solid internet connection that's delivering us speeds high enough for HD quality streams, again, in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
It's all technology, my friend, and it's a lot of stuff people don't know, right? When you get there, and like you said, I've got one bar, how am I going to stream from here? Well, you bring in a professional company that all of a sudden bonds together 2, 3, or 4 different internet connections. Now you're streaming.
So was there any time that you've done any sort of wedding or event where you had to do something kind of think outside the box and you were still able to pull it off?
Every wedding presents its own unique set of circumstances. And something I try and say in the business, and not unlike what you do, is that through your professionalism, preparation, and experience, you put yourself in a position to succeed. And then you go live. Because once you go live, it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. People might all of a sudden decide to stand in front of one of your cameras. So you're just going to have to adjust on the fly, right? You know what it's like. No matter how many times you've asked somebody, please don't stand there, you go live, and now I have one camera that is completely not usable. So getting back to what I said at the beginning is you have planning, preparation, and experience puts you into a position to succeed. And one of those things includes redundancies, right? We have more than one camera, and we always have other cameras set up and a handheld. And the handheld gives us that flexibility that we're looking for. We're in the middle of a ceremony, all of a sudden, they're doing something that was never really discussed. Okay, well, let's pick up the handheld and make sure we go capture that. And again, all of it is wireless. It's all real low footprint, but absolutely, we set ourselves up to succeed through planning, preparation, and experience.
Awesome. Okay, so what about on the users? And I'm specifically I'm always thinking about grandma, because they're probably going to be the ones at home that want to see the stream. Like, how easy is it for them to watch the stream?
It's always just a link. We always encourage our brides and grooms to use YouTube. And I know you may shudder at that and think, oh, I don't want everybody seeing my live stream. I don't want everybody watching my wedding. Well, that doesn't happen. There are ways to protect and privatize live streams on YouTube. And the good thing is grandma knows YouTube, right? My parents, their grandparents, they know YouTube. When they get a YouTube link, they know how to click on it. They already have the apps on their iPads or on their phones. They're not intimidated by a YouTube link. It's something that's familiar to them. So we always encourage brides and grooms, use the most popular platform that's going to be available to the most people around the world. Now, of course, there are white label options. You can get private streams from websites that people haven't even heard of. We know all about them, and we can push you in that direction if that's the type of security and the level that you're looking for. But for the most part, YouTube. you can't go wrong.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So, my other question is, how do you? So, you're obviously not the only vendor there. There's other vendors, like there's videographers and photographers. Like, how do you work with them?
It's just a collaboration, right? And it's about being nice, being flexible, and understanding that everybody has a job to do. And if you're flexible with that and understanding that there's always a middle ground and we can always adjust to other people's needs, you always find a way that everybody can succeed. And that's what it's about, right? You realize that it's not always just about my live stream. We've been hired as one of the many vendors by this couple to deliver a variety of different services. And in order to best benefit the client that we're all there to serve, we all have to do our jobs well.
Do you have any different packages you offer for weddings? Like, I know you do ceremony. Like, I've seen you do reception. Are those different packages? Are they customized? Like, how does that work?
Because weddings aren't the core of our business, we don't necessarily have a lot of wedding packages that you would traditionally see from other wedding vendors. What we do try and do is keep costs low and personalize every quote to the situation, and that actually helps us keep costs down. If we had to deliver one general cost, I would have to assume that it is going to be sideways raining the day of your wedding in order to accommodate for all the varying costs. So we take a look at what the client's looking for, and you're right, Shane, sometimes they want the speeches, sometimes they want the ceremony, sometimes they want the dancing, and sometimes they want bits and pieces of each and all of those. So we absolutely customize it to each and every client, and we do that to try and keep costs down and to make sure that it's exactly what they're looking for with nothing else.
Okay, so can you share some moments of success you had, like when you did like an entire wedding? Like, what does that look like on your end?
I think the most success that we've had, or at least the things that I can point to that were especially heartwarming, were during the pandemic when people weren't able to gather. And our ability not only to live stream to a platform like YouTube, which has more of a passive audience, we really liked engaging an involved audience or an interactive audience where we could stream to YouTube, but concurrently make it available on a platform like Zoom or Teams, where now we're able to display on a big screen right there at the wedding their uncles and aunts that are stationed all over the world, and the bride and groom can come up and have a live conversation with them, just like they were at the wedding. And to us, that was something that we were really proud to provide because everybody was struggling during the pandemic, and to be able to at least offer this to the brides and grooms and their families and know that, hey, Uncle in Ajax didn't feel left out from the wedding, even though they didn't make the cut of 20 people or whatever the gathering limit happened to be. Those were success stories that we were quite proud of because that was something that we workshopped in our office and thought, you know what, we've done this in corporate settings. Do you think this is something that we could apply to weddings? And when we did, it worked famously, and we saw the smiles on everybody's faces. And in some cases, that's the reward you're looking for.
Okay, so I know you do more than weddings. So why don't you tell us about, like you do Niagara 411, you do all sorts of things. So tell us a little bit about that.
Great question, Shane. WeeStream is more than a wedding live streaming company. What we do is we provide quality live broadcasts of live events, which stretch well beyond weddings. We're hoping through our partnership with weddingwin.ca that we'll do more weddings in the future. But over the years, if you can think of it, we've streamed it. Some of the things that we're particularly proud of is our ongoing relationship with the town of Grimsby, where we've streamed their Santa Claus parade for 5 or 6 years. This past year, for example, just a few months ago, over 30,000 people watched the live stream of the Santa Claus parade. And the weather was poor that night, and you knew what a valuable service you brought. Also with that theme, through Niagara 411, so we're also content creators, and we created a show about 4 years ago called Niagara 411 Live. And really what it was there to do was to prove kind of a new media business model, understanding that you could deliver high quality TV broadcast information to Niagara with little to no overhead. And that's what new media is allowing us to do. Live streaming is allowing us to do that as well. And in an effort to give back, we just had a Live with Santa, where Santa came into one of our studios and allowed kids to talk and interact with Santa through Zoom. And it was really cool because kids across Niagara could do it from the comfort of their own homes. And when you start thinking about all the kids and all the different inhibitions and anxieties that they have, sometimes going to the mall or going to actually see Santa in person is a line that they're not willing to cross for whatever reason, but they're more comfortable at home talking to Santa through a screen. And we do that as a service for free. The thing I would think as a company that we're most proud of is our work with the Canadian military. We've been working at CFB Borden, CFB Trenton, CFB Kingston for 5 or 6 years now. And a lot of people don't know this, but the Canadian military hosts national sports competitions, be it ball hockey or ice hockey or soccer, or badminton or volleyball. And we get hired to live stream them. And the thing that warms our heart is knowing, because we see it in the comments and we see it in the viewership, that some of our military men and women that are stationed around the world are watching. And when you're at a military base in the Middle East or in Japan or in Africa, and for a minute you have a glimpse back home and you see some familiar faces and you could root for your own base, what that does to them. And we see it in the messages and it really translates to us. And we love doing that, knowing that as we broadcast, literally Canadians all over the world aren't just watching, but they're using it as a portal back home. And when you're in the military and dealing with all those stresses, it really makes our service not just seem valuable, but loved.
Wow. Now, I always want to see kind of what I'm getting into when I'm getting like a high quality streaming service. So do you have any like examples you could show couples when they go to your website? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, we have a lot of weddings. If people are looking specifically for weddings, and we'll have a link up on weddingwin.ca. So that's a great place to start if you're looking for live streaming services like WeeStreem. But of course, if you go to any of our socials or you go to our website, which is WeeStream.com, you'll find examples there of weddings. And of course, a wider variety of other examples like we just talked about, be it sporting events, there's some commercial work. And here we do a lot of municipal work outside of the Santa Claus parade that we talk about. We'll do Sports Wall of Fame inductions, and we also stream a lot of city council meetings for the 12 municipalities across Niagara. So that's as varied and as busy as we are at WeeStream.
Awesome. Okay, so do you have any new features that you're excited about, or any new technologies?
It's funny you mention that, because this is something that we're very excited about. Is Instagram just opened up live streaming from third-party production companies. Prior to about a month or two ago, if you wanted to live stream to Instagram, which as you know is a hugely popular platform, the only way to do it was through the Instagram app, which really limited you on your production quality. You could really only do single camera, front-facing type of production, whereas now we're able to add all of the production elements that we add into some of our traditional horizontal or 16:9 streams. So now we can do vertical video, customized professional live streams with guests, on-screen graphics, multiple cameras. We're really excited to move forward and kind of be on the ground floor of a new generation of Instagram live streaming and capture a demographic that might be 35 and younger. And that goes for weddings too. All of a sudden now we'll be able to stream your weddings on Instagram, which is somewhere where your friends might be living.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you can stream on Instagram and YouTube at the same time?
You can stream to multiple platforms concurrently. You can be live on multiple YouTube channels, multiple Facebook channels, multiple Instagram accounts, and we can do all of that for you. And you asked earlier, like, what differentiates a company like WeeStream from somebody else that's just there with a cell phone? And you go, well, a lot of these things. And we do this on a regular basis where we stream concurrently to multiple platforms. For example, for the town of Grimsby, while we were live on YouTube for the Santa Claus Parade, it also made sense for them to be live on their socials at the same time. So we made sure that that was a multi-tiered live broadcast.
That is incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin from WeeStreem, thank you very much for joining us at Wedding Win, and we appreciate you coming on. And if you guys want to visit Kevin's website, it's WeeStream.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
WeeStream.com, and you can look at his profile linked below at weddingwin.ca. Thanks for joining us.